Hi, I'm Margaret Fraser, and I'm reading The Island of the Skogg. I'm in Holland, Michigan. It was National Rodent Day, and Jenny decided to have a party. Hannah, Worcester, and Louise came. So did Bouncer and his buddies from the bowling alley. They all arrived shaking after a narrow escape from the butcher's cat. Jenny decided to wheel in the dessert right away. Hot marshmallow cheesecake with raspberry fudge sauce, she announced. Meanwhile, the cat had slipped in with the delivery boy. The mice just barely escaped to the basement. A German shepherd got Granny last night, puffed Hannah. We should stay in our own holes. I'm tired of living in a hole, said Jenny. Let's fight for freedom, cried Bouncer. We'll be soldiers. Rough-riding rowdies. I'll be the general and commander-in-chief. Wait, cried Jenny. Let's sail away instead. We'll find a peaceful island. The mice cheered. I'll be the ship's captain, declared Bouncer. Rowdies, you're my crew. It took the mice most of the night to load the ship and roll it to the harbour. Ignoring the crowd at the pier, they sailed bravely out to sea. During the first few days of the voyage, the mice feasted on chocolate waffles and coconut cherry cheese pie. Between meals, they dreamed of their island and tanned their pelts in the sun. As the days passed, it grew colder and colder. The mice were unprepared for winter weather, and they huddled close to the waffle iron. Land ho, cried Captain Bouncer one morning as the ship narrowly missed hitting an iceberg. The mice looked at the compass and discovered they'd been sailing towards the North Pole. The compass must have been upside down, insisted Bouncer. I'm tired of being captain anyway. I quit. By the time they reached warmer seas, their food supplies were very low. The mice were seasick, homesick, and convinced they would soon be dead. I'd give $1 billion for one last chocolate-coated cheese puff, moaned a rowdy. Suddenly Jenny cried, Land ho! The book calls it the Island of the Skogg, says Worcester. It says population 1 Skogg, but it doesn't say what a Skogg is. If there's only one, there's plenty of room for all of us, said Louise. Why don't we bring it a gift so it will know we're friendly? Wait a minute, flubberhead, snapped Bouncer. Suppose this Skogg is dangerous. Let's blaze our way to the island and show him that we mean business. The rowdies fired all 12 cannonballs, and then the mice waded cautiously ashore. "I claim this land," cried Bouncer, "as a place where all mice can live without fear. We will build a great kingdom dedicated to the freedom of mice, and I will be the king." There were murmurs of surprise from the other mice. "Here we can all feel like kings," said Jenny, "and that is the most important part about being a king, as everyone knows." After unloading their supplies, they somersaulted on the beach through the long, brilliant sunset. How wonderful it was to be on land again. Finally, as the last rays of daylight faded, they climbed back aboard the ship to spend the night. At dawn, they discovered an enormous footprint in the sand. "It looks like a bear track," said Hannah. "Stand aside, tenderfeet," ordered Bouncer. "This is a job for the rough-riding rowdies. We'll use my grandpap's favourite trick. First, dig a deep hole, then cover it with straw and bait it with honey. Tonight the beast will smell the bait, stumble into the trap, and the island will be ours." By evening, the trap was completed. The mice spent a sleepless night in a nearby hole. The next morning, they discovered that the trap was empty. "Look," shrieked Hannah, "someone cut the rope. The ship is gone." "We're marooned," wailed the mice. "Our only chance now," said Bouncer, "is to get rid of the Skogg before he gets rid of us. Who will volunteer?" "It looks like a job for the rough-riding rowdies," said Jenny. "Whose idea was it to come here anyway?" grumbled Bouncer. All eyes turned back to Jenny. "I have a plan," she said. "We must build a giant kite and tie it to a very long rope. We'll circle a honey jar with one end of the rope, and when the Skogg steps into the circle, we will send the kite aloft. The Skogg will be pulled into the air and towed out to sea." That night, the mice hid behind a sand dune and kept watch over the honey jar. Just after dawn, a shadowy figure appeared on the beach. The monstrous creature lurched toward the honey jar. Trembling, the mice sent their kite high into the ocean wind. The plan had worked. But suddenly, the Skogg came flapping apart, and half of him plunged back to the island. The fallen Skogg lay flat and still. "Surrender, you pirate," puffed Bouncer. Suddenly, a little animal appeared. "Don't hurt me," he cried. "We won't hurt you," said Worcester. "We were afraid of you. Why did you wear this monster costume? Because I was afraid of you, cried the Skogg. I was frightened by your cannons and your trap. What happened to our ship? Demanded Bouncer. I cut the rope because I thought you were sleeping on board, confessed the Skogg. I've been so lonely here, but I decided it was better to be alone than to be afraid. If only we'd talked to each other, said Jenny. Bouncer stepped forward and helped the Skogg to his feet. They all agreed to build a village and live together. Let's make plans right now, suggested Bouncer. The first thing we'll need is a national anthem. Rowdies, you're the orchestra. The rest of you will be the chorus, and I will lead the music. Line up, everybody. And the words of the national anthem were, "Heroes, let your voices ring. To our island home we sing. Shelter us from stormy seas. Keep our kitchens stuffed with cheese. Save our pelts from lice and fleas. Save our pelts from fleas and lice. Shout it once, shout it twice. Friends forever, Skogg and mice." So that was The Island of the Skogg by Stephen Kellogg.